Hi, welcome everybody to a live here from the basement. I have a very interesting thing here that you've heard. It is the true definition of something being really interesting, like by definition. We say that a lot. This is, I don't know that it's the first, but it's a first. Firsts are not always best in innovation in technology, but this is something worth noting. And as someone who obsesses and works and studies history the way that I do. I love these moments where I get to, you know, document a thing happening, because a lot of problems in the future come from people in the present not taking good care of what they see. So this is interesting. This is a reverb pedal that has been fully designed and fully designed by Fjord Audio. So Fjord Fuzz or Fjord Audio, I'm not sure. I think it's Fjord Fuzz is their actual name. But he's an amazing guy. I'm going to show you a video. He sent me 2 videos, so I'm going to play 2 of those, and he's going to tell you about it. Basically, it used a chat bot to write the code for what is called Spin. This is also referred to as FV1. This is a DSP platform that was invented for guitar. It's one of the only for guitar technologies really that's ever been made. Most of what we use pedal-wise and guitar-wise, we're borrowing technologies from other things. I mean, even the humbucking pickup wasn't necessarily invented first for guitar. It was invented for the telegraph. You have things like the amplifier really came from the tube technology of radios, stuff like that. So this is an interesting technology, because Keith Barr, who was the founder and main designer of MXR, he went on to other great things, and he got really obsessed with digital. This is before he passed away, and he made this chipset. Now this chipset runs a lot of effects that you love. Brands like Earthquaker, in my opinion, have perfected the use of it. A lot of their in line was and still is probably FV1. My 3 series, any of my time-based effects are. Robert Keeley's a master of this. But Fjord took it and he asked ChatGPT, I believe, to write a code. And that's what you're hearing. So let's jump to this video of him talking about it, and then I have a second video we'll play at the end. I'm going to demonstrate it. I'm also going to give away a box of Ernie Ball strings in this episode, so hang around for Ernie Ball trivia time. But here's that first video.
Hello Josh, this is Daniel Thornhill from Fjord Fuzz, calling in from Bergen, Norway. So Fjord Fuzz is run and operated by me and my friend Eirik Nordstrand. We both have backgrounds from computer science, and as soon as these chatbot AI systems became available to the general public, we thought we'd try and use it to create some guitar pedals, which I thought would be interesting. And so my first few attempts were trying to make it suggest things within the analog realm. And so I did, and it delivered stuff. None of which was sort of ready straight out of the box. It all required a bunch of human intervention to even operate, and I thought, this isn't worth it. If I need to do all this work, I can just do it straight away myself. And so I thought, let's ask it to do a reverb program for the Spin FV1 chip, and it delivered. And not without complications, but still it delivered something that we could definitely use. And so we packaged it in an analog circuit that I think works really well, and that's the thing that you have in front of you. And you know, I'm pretty fascinated by the whole thing, and I think it sounds pretty great too. So I'm glad you wanted to check it out, and I'll talk to you soon. All right.
So there you go. That's from him. It's when I see views like that that I wonder why I live in the Midwest. I love the Midwest, but man, what a view. Getting off of the topic of geography and back to the pedal, this thing is really fascinating from a technology standpoint. I mean, you have this world where we have seen sci-fi movies for years and all this stuff, you know, the robots will make things. And, you know, we're obviously in this age where it's really weird. You know, there's like AI art, and it can be really frustrating, honestly, because is art computer generated? Like, where's the soul in it? You have that whole debate. You have the philosophical issues of AI. You have the legal issues of AI. We have people you know, replicating voices and like creating tracks and putting them on Spotify. It's like, it's just a weird age. So, you know, when we talk about guitar pedals with AI, this is interesting. And I think there is an aspect of AI where it's a tool, right? It's a tool. So it's just an interesting and fascinating topic of, we're sitting here looking at a reverb pedal that a chatbot with its chat brain went through the code and looked at it from this way of what's a reverb do and made a reverb. And what's interesting about that is it did it from just the basic foundation of what's a reverb. I think that's really, it didn't go into it going, what do people want? It didn't go into it, what are the styles of reverb? It just wanted to make reverb. And so there's these weird limitations and these weird boundaries on the knowledge that it has. And sometimes limitations actually cause more creativity, but then you have to say, is this creativity? Well, it's definitely creativity after he gets a hold of it, because he's the human who knows schematics and understands this chipset. So it's just it's a really cool time. And I think, last little bit of my chat here, I think that Keith Barr would have tried the same thing. I think there's an inevitable interest in the engineering mind about this. And so I think the inventor of FV1 would have totally got on ChatGPT and talked to him and been like, hey, what would you do, this, and this. So here's the original box. He sent this. This is actually months old. It's like a couple months old. I had trouble getting the episode. Like, I had trouble being home, basically. I was traveling. But this says, world's first FV1 reverb created by an chatbot. So I do have the box. Let's look at the pedal and let me just demonstrate it for you. Some of you are asking, this is the Trent. I love this guitar. So check out Trent Guitars on Instagram or whatever. He's a fantastic guy. He's over the ocean. He's not in the States. He's British. Here we go. So I don't know the controls of, I don't know the names of these controls either. But what you can do, there's a link in the description, and you can actually go, and he put this up this morning, so it's up for pre-sale. So you can go pre-order these. I'm imagining the earlier you pre-order, the better for you. And it's all up there. It's when you click the link, it's the first thing on his webpage, literally. So like, here's that webpage. Oh, the MIME. Okay, yeah. This is literally how new this is. I wasn't sure of the name, but this is it. And yeah, he has a pre-order thing right here. So all that said, let's dive into it. So the MIME pre-order, check it out. These two controls are interesting. This is on and off. And then this is this like hold infinite sustain kind of feedback button. So I'm gonna just hit a note. Now the nature of this delay is kind of, I can't quite land on what I would say it is. Like, is it a plate? Is it a hall? Is it a spring? Let's go to minimum. So that's at minimum. Let me turn that delay off. Here we go. So I'm going to mute my mic and just mess with this for a second. So this obviously needs more effect to feedback. So let's kind of go in these sections. We'll do like 25%, 50, 75, and we'll see what happens. This feels like a type of mix. Again, I'm not sure. You can go read for yourself. I like not knowing right now. It feels like a plate. It feels like a type of plate reverb. But this might be a mix type control. I don't know what he's called it, but That's how it feels, because this is fully wet. Almost fully wet. And this is some type, again, I'm not sure, but I know what it's doing, and it is the length or the time. Yeah. You could call it feedback too. So let's play with that. And all I have here is a Morning Glory on. So this is all, everything wet you're hearing is the pedal. Let me add some like 2390 stereo delay. So it's really cool, and there's not a lot else to say about it that I don't want to say anything else. I'm going to let him say one more thing in his clip, then we're going to give away the strings, and I'll answer a couple questions. So Joshua, just text me a couple really good questions about this while we do, or Bell, you can as well. And let's listen to his last video. We'll give those strings away.
So, where does this leave us? Is this going to take our jobs, Josh? I don't think so. Not yet. You see, I didn't expect it to deliver analog circuits and schematics, and I was surprised it even tried. But I was disappointed that it had such an issue dealing with the spin chip. You see, the spin chip has 3 pins that you can hook up to potentiometers, so that you can control whichever parameters you want within your algorithm. And it wasn't until we asked to stop trying to use those that it actually delivered something useful. And as a creative partner, I think it's quite useful and interesting, because it takes a very first principles approach to the task. It doesn't try to like recreate a spring tank or make a plate reverb. It just looks at the task and says, what's a reverb algorithm usually made up of? I'll just do that. And so that's interesting, but we had to put the thing into a analog package with a full wet dry mix and a feedback control to make it useful at all. And I think it is now, and I think it's a pretty interesting little device. And with the extra secondary foot switch with the momentary feedback thing, I think it has many creative use cases that I'm looking forward to seeing people use. However, one thing that kind of scares me a bit is how confidently it would speak on topics that it had absolutely no idea how to deal with, and it would just keep making the same mistakes even though I asked it to fix them. And if it hadn't been for the fact that me and Eirik, we know how to you know, write code and draw schematics, but if we didn't do that, I don't think we necessarily would have picked up those errors and figured out how to make it work. And you know, I can envision a future where we would try to use these technologies for something less important than guitar pedals, like, I don't know, let's say global politics, and it would confidently state things while delivering error after error that would not be discovered by whomever was using the thing, and that leading to dire consequences. You know, combine this thing with human nature, and I think you have a pretty explosive package. So maybe cool down on the rapid development of this thing, and we're not going to do that. Yeah, we're going to keep doing this, and let's just, you know, kick back and enjoy the show, play some guitar. So thank you, and yeah, goodbye. Thank you.
There you go. I like possibly the greatest line ever said is, you know, maybe one day we'll use this for less important stuff than pedals, like world government or whatever he said. Yeah, that's kind of the thing. You're like, AI, you know, this is fun. It's a reverb pedal. And then you get into this like sci-fi dystopian future thought, or at least I do. But yeah, I think this is a really interesting time. I feel like I've said that 20 times because it's like all I know to say. Like, there's a bit of unknowing. It's like, how do you gauge if this is, what is this? Is it good, valuable, bad, you know, damaging? It's really impossible to say. I think what we know for now is we have a really cool reverb pedal in front of us that we got to through a different means. So let's do a couple questions right here, and then I'll do Ernie Ball trivia time. So here's a couple questions from you. Someone asked, do you guys think AI could deliver pedal sounds that people wouldn't be able to because they don't think in the same kinds of ways as we do? Is this an exciting prospect to you as a pedal designer? So in other words, does this chat bot think in a way that might discover something differently? Absolutely. I think that innovation and creativity, historically, we land on new things because different types of thoughts are introduced. You know, you get the printing press because of a thing that had nothing to do with the printing press. It's actually from, I believe wineries had invented this mechanism for crushing grapes, and that little piece of that made it down the road, and you end up with a printing press. You know, you end up with just these trails of possibilities. And one thing that helps innovation and creativity is getting around different thinking. And so this is why you see exponentially more creativity in New York City than you do in a little town in Alabama, like where I'm from, with, you know, 500 people, because more people together sharing ideas creates new thoughts. You create new possibilities. So a chat bot is inputting to you as a creative new possibilities that you wouldn't think of. Now, how else could you have this? Well, I think an equally, if not better way, is to collaborate with humans. Get around people. That's why collaborative creativity is so good. That's why it's so important. It's because no lone geniuses exist. And so when you get around people and you're sharing ideas, your ideas get better. That's what's happening here. But there's also a technological, computery element to this that feels robotic. It's really just data mining. It's just looking for the right answers and doing its best. And I love how he talks about it's too competent. I think that's our first problem with this. Humans share a type of, we're usually not so confident, so we check ourselves more. That's some of the danger in this, is that ChatGPT and these engines, they're very confident. I've used it for a couple of prompts looking for stuff, and it actually feels like it actually generates fake information sometimes. So that's that answer. Next is, how does it sound while sustaining an oscillating delay? I'll try to do that for you. I'm not set up to do that, but let me try. It's worth it. We're just here. Let's see here. So, I will, let's see what I got. Let's do like Bucket Brigade. All right. That's what happens. You're oscillating oscillation, and it gets real chunky. That was a good demo, though, right? You might want to do that. Last question here before Ernie Ball trivia time. Did the algorithm actually create something he could not have created without it, although he is answering this right now? Yeah, he kind of answered it. I think, again, it's the same as the first question. He could have. I'll say it this way. Any of you could have started JHS. You would have called it something different. Any of you could have invented the internet if you were around before it existed. Any of you could have done anything, right? No one's special, even though your mom tells you that. The reason we land on thoughts and inventions and ideas is because of the places we put ourselves and the ideas that we are willing to accept and cultivate. So this was just, it led him to a place he probably wouldn't have gone to. That doesn't mean he couldn't go there. It just means he wouldn't have likely been on the path. That would be my answer to that. Let's do Ernie Ball trivia time. All right, here we go. For a box of strings, this is 10 packs of electrics. And this is also, I never remember, is it 4? It's 6 packs of bass strings, which would last Nick an eternity. We've already gone through this. All right, this is the first answer to our server. Joshua's going to tell you if you won in the chat. He'll text me the name and I'll announce it, but he's going to tell you if you win and what to do. So be looking. Here we go. What was the first Ernie Ball Music Man artist signature guitar? What was it? Who was it for? You can do either one of those. So what was the first Ernie Ball Music Man signature artist guitar? Name that artist or the model of the guitar. It's going to have the artist name in it. So while we do that, let me do a record. There's a really good record that just came out. I'm a big, huge, massive fan of Hiss Golden Messenger. If you have never heard this band, one of my favorites. Just like an absolute monster songwriter, creator. I love everything that goes on here. Hiss, it's not his, it's Hiss Golden Messenger. This is Jump for Joy. Just check it out. Check out the previous 3 records. My favorite record by this band, which is worth noting here. I'll let you, if you've never heard of them, let's start with a song that's gonna just knock your socks off. Heart Like a Levee is my favorite record. I've shown this record on Record Time. But there's a song, Like a Mirror Loves a Hammer. Like a Mirror Loves a Hammer. If you don't like that song, we can't be friends. But this is new. This came out recently. Jump for Joy. My favorite song is Jesus is Bored. I think that's my favorite one. The Wandering. It's great. The whole thing's great. All right. Let's give away those strings. We have the winner here. JT Cole Comedy. JT Cole Comedy. I'm hoping you're a comedian. I've never heard of anyone with the last name Comedy. Maybe it is. That'd be cool. JT Cole Comedy, you have won the Ernie Ball Trivia Time. Josh will just message you in there how to get that. But basically email vlog@jhspedals. If you're not the winner, don't do that or we'll ban you from our existence forever. I also want to say before I go, Fjord Fuzz has amazing stuff. Prowl that website. I mean, look at these creations. These are so cool. Look at that one. Octave fuzzes. Really cool. This is like a tape delay preamp device. It's just so nice. I have all kinds of things up here. I like the simple iconography on the metal of the copper plate. This one's really cool. It's got 2 switches and then it has a jack here. Anyway, I'm a big fan of these. This has been fun. I mean, we have in front of us a chatbot coded pedal. Pretty fun. That's it. If you like this, hit like, subscribe to the channel, click the bell icon to get notifications of future episodes, and I'll see you next time. I feel like I'm forgetting something. I think it's just that I haven't done this in a while, but you all are a blast. Thank you, Fjord Fuzz, for being in here. I see all the other builders that are hanging out. Such a fun community. Very proud to be a part of it. Tomorrow is a T&B with Daniel Danger. So if you're needing a third live in a row, Daniel and I will be obsessing over details nobody cares about. I'll see you. We'll put the time up on that later and a link on Instagram. Bye-bye.